Hey, Janet. So the chief has entrusted you with my assignment, hey? I hope it didn't interfere with your weekend plans. Anyway, he told me to call you and fill you in on it. You remember the murder that happened a few years back that was never solved? The one at Paynes Creek where the ex-mayor's wife was killed? Well, the property's being auctioned off soon, so we don't have much time to dig up anything that's relevant to the case. So, see what you can find. Hopefully it'll be something worth publishing. Anyway, take care. I'll see you on Monday. Bye.
Here we start with our initial notice to investigate the 1995 cold case of Vivian Roberts. We're also informed about a private investigator who visited the town years ago, but nothing further. Our goal is to solve the following 3 questions. 1. Who killed Vivian Roberts? 2. What was the motive? And 3. What was the murder weapon? Our investigation starts off fast with a trip to the sheriff's office where we find our first pieces of information. 1. A map that becomes our in-game usable map, and 2. A flashlight. After finding a phone, we listen to the message that was left behind on it.
Hi, this is Steven. I just wanted to make sure the package was sent. Again, I'm currently at Anne's courtyard. Any extra info you have would be much appreciated. Thank you very much. Talk to you later.
Okay, so what we got so far, we have a Steven, question mark, an unknown Steven, with a package was sent. He's currently at Anne's courtyard. Next, we come across a locked cabinet that requires a key and a number combination. While searching, we also notice beneath the desk on the floor a key labeled desk. Above the key on the desk, we find a newspaper article about somebody named Scott Brooks. This article details that Mr. Brooks, the pastor's son, was arrested for the murder of Vivian Roberts. Scott was seen by a witness the night of the murder arguing with Vivian. Scott denied any involvement in her death. Use. Open! Oh, hello. Opening the desk, we find what looks to be an old gate key in Vivian Roberts' murder case report. Within the report, it stated that 2 hunters witnessed Scott and Vivian arguing that night. We also see that Scott has been fired from the mansion 6 months prior for tardy work and rebellious behavior. Vivian apparently had also prohibited Scott from visiting the mansion, and Trisha, whom Scott seemed to have a close relationship with at the time. In the third drawer of the desk, we find the sheriff's diary, where we are introduced to the mansion staff. Bernard the butler, Dorothy the head servant, Derek the chauffeur, and his mother Wanda, who was sadly battling cancer. We also learn about Charles Roberts, the mayor and husband of Vivian and their daughter, Trisha, cluing us into Scott's relationship with Trisha, Vivian's daughter. Number 6. The town of Paynes Creek is quickly becoming a ghost town. The population has decreased drastically over the years, ever since the deaths occurred. The deaths? This is the killings of Paynes Creek, but that's the first we've heard of multiple deaths occurred. It seems that more and more people are actively looking to leave this town. So possible serial killer, maybe? It's sad to see a once lively town become what it is now. On the last page, we learn that the town hospital was shut down in 1996. On the bulletin board, we find another newspaper article about Vivian, stating 3rd death in a year in Paynes Creek, confirming at least 2 others have died, but we don't know the details yet. We also learn of a new individual by the name of Mary Martinez, who worked as a maid at the mansion and was the key individual who found Vivian's body that morning. Vivian's body is also at the coroner's office, which may lead to an autopsy report, which can help us identify the cause of death and hopefully a murder weapon. And I've already spent a lot of time in here, so let's go ahead and head out and start searching the town and asking questions. Let's see if we can go ahead and head on into the town and what we can find and where. Item is locked, so we're probably going to use this key. Yep. Now inside the town, I decided to head to the mansion to begin my investigation. But just before the mansion, I get sidetracked with a path leading to a locked door. Now this door will become important later on, just not in the moment. Back on track, I head into the mansion grounds. Once inside the mansion walls, I take a quick look around the exterior of the house for any clues. The first thing I notice is the distance of the front door to the front gate. Now, she was found outside the house. I'm guessing that means like down the road? She was dragged. That's a lot. It's difficult to do. I feel like it had to be a guy. On the backside of the house, I noticed a shed with a lock on it. You are locked. A code. So, okay, so I can't do anything with that. That kind of sucks. Continuing on, I find another locked door leading away from the mansion. It's locked. Nope, I don't have a key for that. Okay, so there's a gate there that has a pathway that I can't go down. Done with the outside, I head into the house. I like it. While investigating the mansion, we learn a couple of key pieces of information. We learn what the Roberts looked like. Though not necessary, it does help with visuals. We have Vivian, Charles, and Trisha. We see a newspaper article explaining the death of Dr. Henry Johnson, who I'll continue to refer to as Doc Johnson or just Doc. His body was found in 1995 in the car at the bottom of Cherry Lake. We see that Doc Johnson was last seen on June 28, 1995, and can assume he is one of the 3 deaths in 1995 that struck Payne's Creek. So there's a bunch of murders that took place. Alright, so we're about to get a bunch of information here in a second. Or none at all, that works too. Down the hallway in the study, we find a map of the 2nd floor. Out and to the left, we see Charles Roberts' office door locked with a pin pad. On the other side of the house, we find a stairwell and an art gallery. That's creepy, I'm not going in there. Fuck you. So this seems to be a painting room. Art gallery, perhaps? And the diary of Charles Roberts. Within the diary, we learn a lot about Trisha's feelings for Scott being so obvious Charles picks up on them. Charles himself even likes Scott to an extent. But in the second section, things get a bit more spicy, as we can see on the first page, Vivian is always dodging Charles's mother's death anniversary. But more importantly, on the second page, we see that Vivian found out Charles had had an affair sometime before '93. Quote, "Since Vivian discovered my affair, she hasn't been the same." End quote. So she knew about the affair. Okay. So let's go upstairs now. Upstairs on one of the balconies, we find a note detailing a tea schedule for Vivian. Importantly, we need to remember the 3:20 on the dot comment. It'll be important later. In the exercise room, I find a house key in Bernard's locker. And don't worry, I plan to forget that I even have this key in my inventory for the entirety of the game. Next, we enter the maid's room, finding a note from Mary about possible threat letters in Vivian's tea room desk, and we find a diary from Mary where she explains that Dorothy asked her to clean out her house one day, which struck Mary as a bit odd since all employees resided within the manor as far as she was aware, which meant Dorothy has an extra house somewhere. We also get the address for this house. On the final page, we find out about a secret safe hidden behind a painting in the art room gallery. We also find out that the shed is Trisha and Scott's secret meeting spot. So the only other piece of information that I have is the painting that he was staring at down in the painting room. Dang. And I need a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-digit combination. So I think that's it for the mansion. I don't think there's anything else in here in the mansion. Done with the mansion for now, I attempt to enter Dorothy's house. Unfortunately, we don't have a key, so we'll need to come back here later. Actually, let's go to the church, because we know the church has a key that we can use to get inside. So, there's a lot of flower pots. Ooh, there it is. Okay. So the question is which door? Which door? It's the only door that has a lock on it. Church key. The church key would look like that too. Inside of the church, we found a lot of information, starting with a news article about Andrew Reed, one of the missing workers being found dead inside of his burnt home. We see that this took place on or around June 7th, 1995, confirming the 3rd death that year. We find locked confession booths requiring a 6-digit code, and we also find a locked storage room, and an incredibly creepy doorway. That's creepy. No, close the fucking door, fuck you. Continuing upstairs, we found our first room. May 3rd, 1985. Scott's diary. Nice. In the diary, we see that on April 6th, 1985, Scott was adopted by Father Brooks, and that there is a room somewhere in the church Father Brooks uses for carpentry. We also see that Father Brooks made a secret spot somewhere in this very room for Scott to hide his things. See, now I know this is... What? I need a 4-digit combination. So maybe 5385. Hey! So it seems like dates are gonna be the thing for this. In the safe, we find a baseball, a letter from Trish with the shed's code on it, and a diary with nothing major in it, just that there's a secret room somewhere in the mansion. We continued on the hallway into Father Brooks' office. Nothing here, and nothing here. No secret buttons. So we've got a key. Got a note. I returned the tools back to the storage room. So this is the storage room key. Photo of Matthew and Scott years ago. So Father Matthew and Scott from forever ago. I got a 4-digit combination. Fuck. What was the day he adopted? What was the day he, This tells me nothing about what this number could be, though. And I don't really have any information from this room. Unless I find the pastor's actual bedroom. Maybe I can get some more information from that. Of course you're locked. With no further clues, I head to the storage room. So, key, storage room, lock, storage room, A. Yup. Old-fashioned Slim Jim. I like it. We're picking locks. Scott's things. And it's got a key. Can I use a Slim Jim on it? Damn it. Bathroom. I'm running up y'all's power bills. Fuck y'all. I think that's it for here, so we'll go ahead and we'll head back to the mansion, because now we have a code for the secret meeting spot. Although, I wonder if I can use the Slim Jim on, like, a car. Like, can I use it, like, on, like, this? Hey. Finally, I noticed the cemetery, and that the gate was already unlocked. What? Interesting. It was here when I noticed the unnamed grave in the corner of the lot that had freshly laid flowers on it by someone who cared. Scott Brooks. So he's dead. November 15th, 1995, Scott Brooks died. Trish is dead as well. What the fuck happened in 1985? Goddamn. With the cemetery information mulling around in my mind, I headed back to the mansion. So we know what this is. This is 8831. In the shed, we find a letter from Oliver about tools. It's nothing important. This letter just reminds the player that there's 2 other items they still need to find. We find a rook with a 7, another piece with a 1, an attic room key, a key to one of Trish's drawers, and Trish's diary. That doesn't really say anything super important to the story. Done with the shed, I head to the attic. Nice. The only thing of real importance here is the Benfield secret safe clock instructions and the tea time reference on it. So we'll have to find that clock, and we'll need to find the clock key. I don't know. We have a key. Maybe with the rusty key? I don't know. Down in the garage, we don't find anything too great. Just a diary from Derek, and its only major entry is about Scott asking for information on Father Calvin, the priest before Father Brooks. Done with the garage, I look for the secret Benfield clock. You know what? It's probably in the tea room, if I had to guess. Tea time, tea room makes sense. Bad news here is that I don't have a key for the tea room, or any room in the mansion for that fact. Concluding my current investigation into the mansion. Let's head to the hospital. See if I can find Viv's autopsy report then. While wandering around, I remembered that Andrew's house was also a crime scene. Well, actually, where was Andrew's house again? Andrew's house was on Blackroot, something like that. But I get sidetracked when I see a car that I can Slim Jim. Let me jimmy some doors real quick. Oh! Hey, what's this? What's Steve Moss? The fuck? Who is this? 3/26/1997. That's the most. So this is after all the deaths. In Steve Moss's diary, we discover that, quote, the media didn't have it right, and I'll have to visit St. Patrick's orphanage. I know Scott found something there. There's something not quite right with all of this, end quote. We also learn that Vivian married Charles in 1971, and that in 1974, Vivian was hospitalized and Trisha was born just before that, signaling possible birth complications. And finally, we get the mansion security room code 025241. In the car, we also find a letter. This is the hiring letter from the anonymous person to Steve Moss, the private eye, to investigate the cold case of Vivian Roberts dated March 13th, 1997. In this letter, we see the anonymous person worked at the mansion and had insider information, quote, the body was put on display for all to see, end quote, and that Scott was arrested, but charges were dropped 8 months later and Vivian's case was filed as unsolved. We also find the original threat letter. I know what you did. Meet me by the well at midnight. You know which one. Come along. Why are the E's like that? That's interesting why the E's look like that. Probably thinking too much on that, but it's important nonetheless. The secret lies with her. I wish I knew who she was. I like the pronoun game. That one's my favorite. Is your glove box unlocked? I don't happen to have a key, do I? No. Why get a bloody handprint on your fucking glove box there, homeboy? I don't see any more important evidence in here that I really care about, so... Lies with her. I'm guessing cemetery. I need to go to the mansion. What was I gonna do? Oh, well, I might as well continue to Andrew's house. While looking for Andrew's house, I stumbled upon the park and the forest. I find the cabin a bit too soon and don't have a key for it, so we'll have to come back here at a later date. From the playground. While leaving the area, I noticed a birdhouse that caught my attention and looked a little out of place. So, following the path, I found a secret box, but no code for it, so I can't open it just yet. What? Four-digit combination. Ooh, damn. For now, I would return to looking for Andrew's house. Locked. Oh, oh, I'm stupid. It's right here. Okay. Makes sense, yellow crime scene tape. I don't know why I didn't think about that. Well, and just like everything else in this game, I don't have a key for this location yet, so I'll have to come back here in the future. But with the security room code that I have, I knew where I'd be heading to next. Alright, so sec room 025242. Security room 0252. Oh, 41. I'm fucking stupid. 025241. Oh, and there's nothing but fucking keys. The 3 keys we've got: tea room, Trish room, nanny room. Messaging machine doesn't work. That's fair. Security desk logbook and a file. In this folder, we find all of the employee files, which help put faces to names. And then we have a security desk logbook. In the logbook, we find some very interesting details, such as here in section 2, where we see Magdalene, the grandmother, was looking for a missing security tape dated June 28th, 1975. And in the third section here, there's a story of a lost girl on Halloween who finds a pretty woman dressed like a housemaid with long black hair who helps her find her way back home. Except in those files we saw, none of the houseworkers have long black hair. I'm guessing nanny room is Dorothy's room? Oh shit. Aha! Within the nanny room, also known as Dorothy's room, we find a photo, a letter, and 2 diaries. The letter details Dorothy's resignation to the Roberts estate in 1996. The photo is of Dorothy and Trisha. The second diary in the dresser has one important page. Here we see Scott visiting Dorothy, and she shows him an old photo album. Quote, "To my surprise, Scott was very quiet. He asked me if he could borrow one of the photos. He thanked me and left." End quote. He clearly learned something in this photo. He figured something out. To my surprise, he was very quiet, so he was shocked when he saw something, or he was intrigued when he saw something, asked if he could see one of the photographs, and then he ran off in a hurry with it. That means he still has it. In this first diary, we learn some incredible details. Mainly, this person here, Sophia, is a new name. We see that in 1972, she worked at the mansion, but there is no record of this worker so far. She was related to Father Brooks, whom recommended her to the family. She was very pretty, eager, and a quick learner. We also see on the second page that Sophia's good looks started causing issues with other workers. In the second section, we see Father Brooks had a thing for Sophia, something more than just familial bonds, as noted by Dorothy when he would come to visit Sophia at the house. But most important of all, on the last page, we see Dorothy and Sophia talking about love. Sophia asks Dorothy what it feels like to be loved. With Dorothy's response, Sophia doesn't seem to understand this feeling. Sophia? Who was Sophia? With nothing else to be found, I head to the tea room. What's this one? Yeah. Oh, and look what we have here. If it isn't the clock, I know you're hiding. I need an item. Fuck! Okay. Well, at least I know there's something in there. I don't know. I need a key. I need another key somewhere. In the tea room, I find a key in one of Vivian's diaries. Unfortunately, the only really good piece of information we discover here is that Magdalene, the grandmother, was pushing Viv for more kids. But Viv is worried after having a miscarriage. This does take place in 1972, however, so she still gives birth to Trisha in 1974, but she also winds up in the hospital for something in 1974 as well. Done in the tea room, we move to Trisha's room. We find out that Trisha was in the hospital. We find a key to Dorothy's house with a note from Dorothy. We also find a symbol and a note from Scott to hold onto this. We also find another diary. In 1994, she had an argument with her mother over her relationship with Scott. Father Matthew also forbids Scott from seeing Trisha. On the third page, Scott and Father Matthew had a fight. And on the fourth page, we see Scott asking Trisha about her younger brother, Vincent, something she doesn't seem to have any knowledge of. October 11th, 1994, at dinner I asked Mom if I even had a younger brother named Vincent. She stared at me and said no. She then asked where I got the name from. When I said from Scott, she told me dinner's over. I argued with her. She yelled and sent me to my room. Later I heard her arguing with Dad. So she does have a younger brother named Vincent. Otherwise, why would her mom wonder where she got the name from? We know that Viv had a miscarriage, but we also know at some point in time that Charles had an affair. What if this Vincent is the child of the affair? What if Scott is the child of that affair? What if Scott and Trish are technically related and that's why they can't see each other? That's why. Anyway, October 22nd, 1984, how could mom fire Scott? So there's definitely some truth to this because that's a reaction. You're telling me on the 11th, she brings up Vincent, they have an argument. 15 days later, he gets fired. This is so unreasonable. There's no reason at all for firing him, and why can't I see Scott anymore? I love Scott. Dad loves him too. Only mom hates him, and I don't even know why. That's true. Only mom hates him. She knows something. Vivian definitely knows something about Scott and about Vincent. November 22nd, 1984. I find it really strange. I knew that today was Scott's day off, so I tried to surprise him at the cabin. However, I could not find him. I searched everywhere inside and outside of the cabin. He was nowhere to be found. Just as I was about to leave, he suddenly appeared as if he had been there this whole time. This has happened several times now. I wonder if there's a hidden room in the cabin that just don't know about. Okay. We then find a literal cabin key and Trisha's diary of her younger self. This just contains memories of her and Scott as kids, and the security code for her father's study. Okay, so it's just a box I can't open up. This one is 44871. Nice. Ooh, chess pieces. Now we've got a horse with a 5, and looks like pawn with 2. This letter shows the reason that Viv was hospitalized. In 1974, Magdalene pushed Viv to have a boy to be the family heir, but Vivian gave birth to Trisha instead. This caused medical complications, forcing Viv into the hospital and no longer being able to bear children. What other rooms are we missing? What other rooms are we missing? What other rooms are we missing? This room. Oh, I think we're in Viv's room. I think this is Viv's room. So we've got key 201. Could be room 201 at the inn, perhaps. Can I open you? Any there's a lot of secret passages and shit. You got one too? Within Viv's room, we find a key, possibly to the tea time clock, and another of Viv's diaries. Importantly, on the second page, we see Viv shocked that Scott has been asking around about Sophia in 1994. We also see that Viv is upset towards Andrew for telling Scott about her, and that Sophia is gone, and that his hallucinations are getting worse. On the last pages, we see a shift in Viv. In May, she states, quote, is stopping her from seeing Scott wrong, end quote. And then almost 2 months later in July, we see a major shift in her attitude, quote, of all the men in the world, why would Trisha pick him, end quote. Diary finished, I head upstairs to open the tea time clock. Place an item. Use. Nothing happened. Oh, wait, this is the time. It's 3:20, right? 3:20. Oh. Here we discover the most damning pieces of evidence thus far in this investigation. Dated June 18th, 1975 from Doc Johnson to Vivian Roberts. Regarding Charles's affair, Doc states, quote, there is only one way. You must make Sophia and the baby leave Charles. I figured Charles would try to add the child to the family registry. It's a boy after all, end quote. Solidifying the threat to Vivian and Trisha now that Charles had an heir to continue the family name. Oh, fuck. So Sophia, the maid, Charles had an affair with Sophia and had a baby. And then, it was a boy. Oh, is it Scott? Could it be Scott or is it Vincent? Is Scott Vincent or are they two separate people? Oh, that's crazy. Because this is in 75. So wouldn't they be about the same age? Oh, there's more. Fuck. I have given careful thought to your request, and here is my answer. I have provided a new prescription for your mother-in-law, Magdalene. It is 3 times the strength of her usual dosage. Detailed instructions will be sent with the medicine. Should you decide to do it, you will need to administer the medicine carefully so no one suspects anything. Call me if you have any questions. Henry Johnson, P.S. Make sure no one else is in the mansion ingest any of it. We don't know when the date of this is, but we know Madeline was probably poisoned. I don't think there's any more rooms in the house that I need, that I care about. You know what? I'm gonna go to Dorothy's house before I do the rest of these, because I want to know what Dorothy knows. Because Dorothy's the head maid, so I feel like she knows something. At Dorothy's house, I begin my search for clues. Finding a diary in a desk drawer, it reads, February 2nd, 1975. Charles asked something of me today. He asked if I'd be willing to stay with Sophia, that he'd arranged to have a house rented out a little ways away from the mansion. I told him that I would help, but that Sophia's pregnancy will eventually show. There's no way of hiding it. He seemed very worried. See, I fucking knew she knew. So this house isn't for Dorothy. This house was for Sophia, and he had Dorothy stay with her. April 6, 1975. Sophia is 8 months into her pregnancy. Her belly is big now. I asked her how she felt. She told me she's happy and feels hopeful for the future. She said it would be the best if the baby is a boy. I can understand why she's thinking that way, but I can't help but wonder how Vivian will feel about it all. What will the ramifications of this be? This is technically Sophia's house, which means Sophia might have some information here for us. Unfortunately, there is a locked door that I don't have a key for, ending my current search. Pausing on Dorothy's house for now, I decide to investigate the local inn for Stephen Moss, the missing private investigator. Ooh, creepy. I like it. Hopefully we find a lot of information here. One of the first things I noticed was a dark score sheet that might be handy later on. I enter the office and begin my search with the logbook. Stephen Moss. We know that name. We notice Steve Moss, the PI, checked into room 201 on March 21st at 4 p.m. and never checked back out. We find a note with Andrew's address written on it in the key that someone requested, assumably Steve Moss. We also find the keys to rooms 204, 203, and 202. Heading upstairs, we make our way straight to Steve Moss's room 201. 202 and 2... There might be a dead body in here. We pick up a rent due notice confirming Steve Moss hadn't been here for some time. Dead body. Damn. What's the coincidence? Oh, and he left his briefcase. 100% he's dead. Within the desk, we find 3 photos and a notebook. The first photo shows us the confession boxes dated March 29th, 1997, with a note, the code is Calvin's date of birth. The second photo shows what looks like a tall closet with a carved out portion on it. And the last photo shows someone on the roof of the hospital in 1997. Bernard Hopkins, 31 Silver Creek Boulevard, Pastry. Father died in mine accident. He was at home the day Vivian was killed. No alibi. Interview with Dorothy. Interview with Mary tomorrow at Moon Cafe. Meeting with Sheriff at the Outpost at 10 a.m. on 5/11. He mentioned wanting to show me some files. I found a hidden panel in the inn's reception area. It's part of the counter. It's hard to pop open. The latch is placed at one of the corners. There's some interesting stuff they're hiding in there. It's locked. Of course it's fucking locked. In the office area, I looked for a hidden panel, and let me tell you, this took way too long to find. This seems like really accessible, like right here. Ooh, God, that was so stupid. The main thing here is the logbook. On the last page, we see an entry in 1997 about Steve Moss finding something that happened in 1975 that was, quote, just the breakthrough he needed, end quote. And the person writing asks, quote, I wonder if it had anything to do with the mansion maid who left Paynes Creek, end quote. Possibly referring to Sophia, who also left Paynes Creek when she was pregnant, but still stayed in the town secretly with Dorothy. With Andrew's house key, I enter the crime scene. Ooh, ominous. There isn't much here on the first floor except a burnt safe with a flask and a note from Andrew to his son about Andrew getting better and wanting to see his family again. And it's hard to feel like he took his own life because he really had a lot going here and he was going through rehab, he was doing really well. Next, I make my way upstairs. That's fucking creepy. I swear. She is coming for us. I swear to God, if this just turns out to be some like creepy ghost, like, ooh, they were just haunted the entire time kind of thing, I'm gonna be really upset. There isn't much in this room besides, you know, the obvious stuff, but we do find a diary from Andrew. In the first section, second page, we get straight into it with Andrew stating, did I see her again? Writing, he's as guilty as I am. We're all in it together. He cannot abandon me. They cannot abandon me. In the second section, first page, Andrew writes, ever since Scott asked about her, I've started to see Sophia again. He continues on, I know I'm a sinner. Nothing I do will bring her back. And finally he writes, please forgive us for what we have done. So with the, I hope nothing I do will bring her back, I wonder if he means Sophia or his wife. Does he mean that nothing he do will bring his wife back because she left him? Or does he mean, I can't bring her back because he maybe killed Sophia. And that's why he says, please forgive us for what we have done. But who's we? I guess that's it for here. There's no key or anything. So I can't get into this room that's jammed from the other side. And I can't get in there. And there's really not much else to go in here. So, oh. Boy! Ooh, boy! Ooh, son, I'm not gonna lie, that just scared the shit out of me. I was looking down at my phone when I came out of that, dude. That was fucking terrifying. So I think that might have been the ghost of Sophia that we saw there. She has this similar hair and looks as the security officer's logbook that we saw, where he said she had long, straight black hair. She had a black dress on. That's probably, I would argue, Sophia. Finished with Andrew's house, I made my way over to Scott's cabin. Inside the cabin, we find a drawer with a chest key and one of Scott's diaries. In the diary's second section, first page, we see a comment where Father Brooks tells Scott he's not actually an orphan. In the third section, second page, we see Andrew mumbling names like Magdalene and assumably Sophia. But in the fourth section, first page, we see Scott return from the orphanage, finding out it was Father Calvin who brought Scott there as a child. And we learn that Scott was in fact from Paynes Creek. So Father Calvin, before Matthew brought him to the orphanage, he was from Paynes Creek, which means he was born in Paynes Creek. He could be Vincent. He could be the son of Charles, the half-sibling to Trisha, and the son of Sophia. Broken, my father, he couldn't find information. And then the last entry, Andrew's drunk again. This is the 5th time I had to bring him home and then cover his shift. It's getting quite annoying. As I laid him down in his bed, he muttered yesterday, "I'm so sorry, Sophia." Who is Sophia? So, okay, so he did find out about Sophia from Andrew, and Andrew did do something to Sophia, maybe killed her. Maybe he knows who killed her. He might not have killed her. He might have just known. He knows something about Sophia. Another key, obviously a church key, because we have a symbol on it. Now I'm like terrified she's gonna be there every time I fucking turn around. Another locked door and no keys halts our progress in the cabin for now. In the future, we will be returning. The next place we're gonna head to is definitely the church and start investigating the church. Now that I know she's in here because I'm constantly looking for her. This goes to this. Nice. In Scott's personal chest, we find a diary, a letter, a key, and a baby blanket. Stitched on the blanket, we see My Baby Boy, 1975. The key goes to a basement, hopefully the one in Scott's cabin. Within the letter, we read that on July 4th, 1975, Father Calvin brought Scott to the orphanage and that Scott lost his parents. When Scott was 10, Father Brooks would stop by the orphanage to see Scott and drop off money for him. And finally, everything contained within the chest belongs specifically to Scott. Remember that fact because it's important for later. Within the journal, Scott writes in the first section, first page, that when he asked Andrew about Sophia, Andrew freaked out and said that Scott shouldn't go around speaking that name. The rest of the pages are about Scott asking all the workers about Sophia and all of them brushing Sophia off as just another person who worked at the estate. But on the last page, we see that Dorothy almost tells the full truth, that Sophia had an affair with Charles, Viv had found out, and that Sophia left town. But we know that she didn't leave town, and that she was pregnant. We also know that she lived with Dorothy in a secret house. None of those. This door's locked. Ooh. Within the room, we find a diary from Father Brooks. In this diary, we see that Father Calvin informed Brooks of Sophia's disappearance. Brooks never believed for a second she went willingly and that she must have been forced. In the last entry, we see Brooks 6 months later decide to move on from Sophia's disappearance and to drop all matters of the heart, really showing us that he had some type of feelings for Sophia. Finding another diary, we learn that Father Brooks was also an orphan and had been adopted just like Scott. We also see that the Roberts had been looking for a new maid. Father Brooks offered up a relative for the position to Vivian. This relative was Sophia. Since starting the job at the mansion, Sophia has settled in nicely. Whenever she has time off from work, we've been exploring Payne Creek together. I have so much to show her. Is she a relative or is he in love with her? This is just like the orphanage days, and I'm extremely comfortable being with her. Today was Sophia's day off. We ate at the Moon Cafe again. I can't seem to get enough of this place. The food is delicious, the atmosphere relaxing, and the coffee tastes great. Maybe it's all because Sophia's company. Still, I love to hang out here. It's definitely one of my favorite places in Payne Creek, followed closely by the church and the Little Big Books. While searching the room, I find two other documents. One is a law firm's letter to Father Brooks for Scott, and the second is some donations and money moving to pay for Scott's legal fees. Next, I try the basement key on the church basement. It's locked. Is there a way to unlock it? Because this is definitely a basement key. It just says exit. There is not. Okay. Finished at the church, I head to Scott's house to access the basement. Unlock. Nice. Basement. Hello? Creepy girl. Ah. On a shelf sits one of Scott's diaries. The Hidden Truth. Oh, okay, what does it say? Monday, February 14th, 1994. On Valentine's Day, Trish gave me some chocolate. I've never seen that brand before. I bet it must be expensive. I haven't finished making the music box. I hope that it would be her Valentine's Day present. I'll just give it to her later. Hopefully she can forgive me. On the last pages of the diary, we learn the truth about what happened to Sophia. In 1972, there was a maid who came to work at the mansion. Her name was Sophia. She was a hard-working young lady with a great personality. She was loved by many. A few years into her job, however, she had an affair with Charles. A child was born. When Vivian found out, she was furious and decided to kick her out of Payne Creek. What happened after that was a tragedy. On June 26, 1975, at 11 p.m., Vivian, Dr. Johnson, and Andrew confronted Sophia. A fight broke out. Sophia fell and hit her head on a nearby well. She stopped moving. Dr. Johnson checked and realized she was dead. Her neck had been broken. No one knew what to do. Vivian then asked Andrew to take care of the body and her baby. Andrew did what he had to do to protect Vivian. After that night, they vowed never to tell anyone about the incident. Before leaving, I asked Andrew what the name of the baby was. He said it was Vincent. After I left the hospital, I couldn't help but pity Andrew. He had lived a confusing life and the struggle shows. I hope he can heal. Bro, so that explains why Andrew died, and that explains why Doc Johnson died. This, they could probably have a relation to because Andrew and Doc Johnson both knew about the death, and Viv was the only living person. So did Viv kill both of them, maybe? Did Viv kill Andrew and Viv kill Doc Johnson? I mean, she tried to kill her mother, and Doc Johnson would have known about that too, so they'd have given him two things that he would have known. Two people can keep a secret if one of them is dead. Oh, that's so crazy. So I guess now we get to learn this and find out what is behind here. Oh, the blood thickens. There's a secret room down here. Oh, he knew who killed my mother. So he knew. That looks just like her. That looks just like her. Kind of. Maybe it seems like that's the same type of photo. They kind of look similar. It's that long straight black hair with the cut across the eyes. Magdalene couldn't be her. She tried to find Sophia. He's my father. Yes. Vivian, Charles's wife. Bernard, mansion butler. Father Calvin, he saved me. Couldn't be him. Father Matthew in Indonesia at that time. Andrew, nothing on him. Wanda, nothing on her. Derek, he's 6 years old at that time. Johnson killed Magdalene. Yeah, we already know that. Dorothy, she loved and took care of Sophia when she was pregnant. Also true. So he kind of knew everything. Obviously, it's one of these three because they were there that night. We know Andrew got rid of the body. So I feel like if Andrew got rid of the body, I feel like he didn't cause it. It might not have been Doc Johnson. He didn't seem like the type because he gave Viv the poison. Viv could have been the one. Maybe they got in an altercation and she pushed her and she fell. That seems more plausible. I don't see why Doc Johnson would have been involved in that altercation. Bernard's house. So, Bernard's house is 31 Silver Lake Boulevard. Old sewer entrance. Oh, that's what that is. And then we have birdhouse. So the birdhouse does have importance to the story. So now we have a typewriter as well. I found out who killed, but the E, if you look, the E is normal. It's not raised and it's not red. I find an old gate key on the wall and photograph all of the evidence, especially the photo of Sophia. Oh, there it is, right there, in the photo, right there. While photographing Sophia's photo, I noticed the blanket around the child, which matched the very same blanket in Scott's box at the church, which was stated to be all the things that were his as a child. This confirmed that Scott was in fact Vincent, the son of Sophia and Charles Roberts. Alright, so we have another map. So now what is this? Paynes Creek sewers. Okay, so these are the sewer markings. But there looks like there's gates and then dead ends to farmer's market. What do these symbols mean? I wonder what these X's indicate. We definitely know this is probably going to be the sewer key. This is 6/21/1975. Nothing written on the back. I also find a music box key attached to a necklace, and finally one of Scott's diaries, hopefully containing everything that Scott knew. Within the first section, we see that Scott finally knows who he is. He also visited Andrew to try and find his mother's body. In the second section, first page, Andrew finally reveals the location to Sophia's remains. On the second page, we see that the location, being the well, has since dried up and was covered in moss, but we also see that it does in fact reside on the Roberts estate. Scott later found his mother's remains and laid her to rest next to Father Calvin in an unmarked grave, much like the one we saw in the corner of the cemetery. Within the final pages, we see that Scott was a recluse after learning the truth of his family. And on the second page, on May 13th, 1995, Scott told Father Brooks everything. Everything about Sophia, Trisha, and Charles. Father Brooks didn't speak, he just listened. This is a key to an old mansion gate, seems unused for a long time. You know what that key is probably for? It's probably for the random gate that's in the back of the mansion that I tried to open that one time, and the well is probably behind that. Don't know what the burn house has to do with anything. I'm not understanding the burn house thing. With this massive amount of knowledge, I leave Scott's cabin to continue my investigation. Finally remembering the key that I found in the locker, I tried Bernard's house since I just discovered his address. While in Bernard's house, we find some very interesting things. The first is a room full of weapons, specifically a set of knives where one is missing. We also find what looks to be a broken cabinet with a missing axe, giving us 2 possible murder weapons currently missing. We also find some military decorations. Military badges, so they're probably using it as a way to display he knows how to kill or something, or like he's very tactical. Looks like his office. While searching Bernard's office, something caught my eye. Oh. A bloodstained wood panel. I need a tool to pull up the nails. Could be evidence underneath that. Do I have a tool to remove? I mean, I have a chin tool. Apparently I'm missing a tool here. Probably the tools that the one dude has. We do find one of Bernard's diaries where we get to see that he had a thing for Vivian and was slightly jealous of the relationship that Scott and Trisha had, wishing that he and Vivian could also have that too. While searching Bernard's desk, I find a diary with some comments about Viv and this key that goes to a desk in the mansion. I'm assuming it's for Viv's desk, so moving with this train of thought, I head to the mansion to see where this key goes. Back at the mansion, I head inside. Nice. In the music box, all we find is a letter from Scott to Trisha being incredibly vague and only saying that he knows the truth and that he agrees they shouldn't be together and that he hopes to tell her everything one day. In the tea room, the key unlocks his desk and we find a diary. Unfortunately, it doesn't contain anything of immediate value to our investigation. In the back of the estate, I use the rusty door key to unlock the gate and enter inside. In this area, we discover the well, the scene of a sad and avoidable fate. I'm scared of what I'm going to find down here. Oh, here we go. I make my descent to the bottom of the well. Here she lies. You know, this could be that thing that the secret lies with her. 0526. M2S? Maybe Matthew to Sophia? Finished with the well and the estate, I decided to check out the sewers. Ooh. Fucking creepy. Okay. While in the sewers, I investigate all the blockages and possible exits. I wanted to learn the area and what its importance was to the story. Finished exploring the sewers, I find the exit to the hospital, this currently being the only way out of the sewers that I have. Oh man, I don't want to walk around dark fucking hospitals, that's fucking weird. In the morgue, we find a pile of documents, keys, and a wallet. The first key is a briefcase key, hopefully to Steve Moss's briefcase. A second key with the letters BH written on it, possibly referring to Bernard Hopkins, the wallet of Steve Moss, and a notebook. Inside, we see something interesting. Father Brooks left a puzzle for Sophia. She needed to visit her 3 favorite places, and it would lead her to the location of a gift. Those 3 locations are 1. Anne's Courtyard Inn, 2. The main entrance bridge, and 3. The post office. In the second section, we see that Steve Moss received another anonymous message. message telling him that Scott wasn't Vivian's killer. Steve himself agrees that he has had his doubts about Scott. Quote, "I can't help but think Scott didn't kill Vivian," end quote. On April 29th, 1997, Steve receives another message. This time, it told him to look into Bernard Hopkins and that Steve could find something in his house. Steve even received another key to Bernard's house. On the last page, we see that Steve also read Bernard's diaries and doesn't feel that he could have killed Vivian either. Much as I thought, Bernard seems too infatuated with Vivian to kill her. I'm curious because whoever this anonymous person is, they're helping lead the investigator away from Scott and solidifying his thoughts on Scott not being the killer, but also somehow has access to keys and locations and information. Should look into Bernard. Here's his house key. How do they have this information? Finished in the morgue, I spot an open door across the hallway. Entering the room, I turn on the lights and find a claw hammer. This will be useful in Bernard's house later on. Done with the basement, I begin my search of the hospital. All ye ghost people just fucking stay hidden, thank you. While searching the hospital, I noticed an interesting poster. Are ghosts real? You know what, I'm gonna say so because I took a photo of one. During my continued search, I also find an interesting logbook. It is unfortunate that 8-year-old Timothy Scott drowned. Huh, maybe that's where they got the name Scott from. But more importantly, one of the nurses noticed a young girl outside of Doc Johnson's window drenched when it wasn't raining. Then she disappeared. A possible ghost of Sophia sighting, perhaps. Could that be Sophia, maybe? She seems to be helping kids. Maybe she tried to help this kid? I don't know. Because he drowned. She saved the other girl that was in the forest during Halloween, but this kid died. Continuing my search of the hospital, I find a key card. Painting Community Hospital, Henry Johnson, key code. Oh, that's important. Probably keep that. Can I go to his office? Can I unlock his office with that? Oh, don't you fucking do that to me, ma'am. Listen, lady, don't you... Fuck you. I'm trying to help you, okay? Don't be shutting lights off and haunting me, okay? I'm on your side. Unless it's the killer. Am I being chased by the killer? Is that what this is? I'm confronted with multiple locked doors. I then decide to investigate the records room and find a recording of Trisha.
Hello again, Miss Roberts. How are you doing? What should we talk about today? The nurses have notified me that you haven't been eating your meals. Is there something wrong with the food? We know that currently this is a rough time for you. Your father has been asking for you. He wants to know if he can talk to you.
Okay, so that seems like it's Trish. She wasn't eating and she wasn't doing well. You're gonna go to the basement, turn the power on, aren't you? Finding nothing of value in the records room, I head to the basement to turn on the power. That is so unfucking necessary. It is scary. This is the rooftop. Oh, creepy girl, where are you? He took a photo of you up here. Where are you, creepy girl? A broken ledge, someone could fall and die. Yeah, I bet they could. Very interesting how you made that statement that someone could fall and die. Unfortunately, I do still have the key card to Doc's office in my inventory, but the power jump scare distracted me and I forgot about the door. So I'll have to come back here in the future once I remember that Doc's office even exists. Finished for now at the hospital, I head to Bernard's house for what secrets lie under his floor. Okay, so we're back at Bernard's house. We're gonna go back upstairs to the unlocked room for the evidence that's here. I need to pull some nails. Oh, a bloody knife is discovered under the floorboards. A possible murder weapon. But for who? Vivian, Scott, or Steve Moss? Now, here's the thing with this though, because the private investigator is missing, right? We found his car with a bloody handprint on it. We found his briefcase and all of his items still back at the inn. We found everything left here by the private eye, but no private eye. So we could assume he's missing, possibly been killed, and this knife could be related to just Bernard killing the private investigator or somebody who did it for him and is trying to frame him. In Bernard's second room, we find a photo of Vivian crossed out with the word bitch written on the back of it. We also find a diary from Bernard wherein he details a possible affair in March of 1995 that he found Vivian having with some banker. We even see on the last page that Bernard had been following Vivian for some time and that she was repeatedly meeting this mystery man. Bernard also states she's supposed to choose me. Aww. But did he kill Viv or did he kill the boyfriend? Maybe he killed the boyfriend. Finished at Bernard's house, I head to Wanda Tyler's house. While searching the Tyler's residence, I didn't find anything crazy or of major importance. What I did find, however, was a pocket knife on Derek's nightstand and a typewriter which also had normal E's not similar to our threat letters. Briefcase key in hand, I head back to the inn. Inside of the briefcase, we find a note with a code to Charles' secret safe behind the painting. Gallery's Vincent's birthday. I thought it would be Trish's birthday. How could I not have thought this fucking same? And best of all, we finally get the autopsy reports for Andrew, Vivian, and Doc Johnson. Within these reports, we learn that Andrew's body had third-degree burns, which match his body being found in his burnt house. But a closer investigation revealed a punctured lung with an object similar to a switchblade or small knife, possibly like another small blade we found already. Cause of death is possible pneumothorax, but it's difficult to tell. In Doc Johnson's report, we find his cause of death to be exsanguination, meaning he bled to death. The report details a sharp force trauma above the right eye, and numerous lacerations to face and back of forearms indicating a defensive posture. The coroner believes the victim bled to death before being placed in the water. And finally, Vivian Roberts. Cause of death, exsanguination. Vivian showed similar defensive marks on her torso and arms, and a similar sharp force trauma to the right side of her head, leading me to believe that the same person with the same weapon killed both Doc Johnson and Vivian Roberts. But after reading both these descriptions, it sounds like they were attacked by somebody with a sharp bladed weapon. I think Andrew was definitely killed by a smaller knife, and then Henry and Viv were killed by somebody with a knife who was strong enough to overpower both of them. Makes me think physically fit male with a sharp object 12 centimeters wide and 7 centimeters deep. Crack on the right side of the head caused by a strong force with a sharp object, like an axe maybe? With no other leads, I head back to the Roberts house for the secret safe. Alright, let's do this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a 6-digit code, so we know his birthday was 6/1/1975? What? Inside, we find a will from Charles Roberts, dated June 21st, 1975, that reads, Vincent Roberts, born of Charles Roberts and Sophia Miller on June 1st, 1975, in Paynes Creek, shall be officially acknowledged as a family member of the Roberts family effective July 1st, 1975, solidifying and confirming Vincent is the heir to the Roberts estate and fortune. We also find another chess piece with the number 4 written on the bottom and a diary from Charles. July 31st, 1995, I cannot believe that Scott killed my wife. It's being spewed all over the media. How? Why? He loves Trisha, and I treated him like my own son. It doesn't make any sense, only if you knew. In the second section, we see that Charles was angry towards Scott for Vivian's death, and that Scott pitied the ignorant. We also see that Charles was drunk and stated that he wished someone would get rid of Scott. We can assume that Bernard heard this as he took Charles home that night. On the last page, we finally get the answer to the chess piece's code. We use this code to unlock Charles's desk, and inside we find a document in a diary. The first document is a confirmation to our investigations. We see that Charles started an investigation of his own. He learned Andrew and Doc's deaths were not accidents and that they were related to the disappearance of Sophia. We also see that Doc and Vivian conspired to kill Magdalene with a lethal dose of medicine. The second document is an update from a year later from the investigators reporting that they know Andrew, Vivian, and Doc were all involved in Sophia's disappearance, but not exactly what happened to Sophia. Lastly, we open Charles's diary. November 18th, 1995, months ago, right before Vivian was killed, I confronted her about Mom's death. She said she didn't know anything about it. She only administered the medicine as provided by Doc Johnson. She was lying. I could see it in her eyes. She was scared and she was hiding her fear. I know that Vivian was never completely truthful with me, but I still have no proof yet. She never killed Mom, but I wouldn't have thought her capable of killing her own mother-in-law. I know that she had something to do with what happened to Mom and Sophia, but what can I do? She was my wife after all, and now Vivian is dead, so is Scott. Now Trisha is dead too. Is this my punishment for the affair I had 20 years ago? With nothing else for me to discover at the moment, I regather my thoughts. We still need to figure out Matthew's gift to Sophia. Rereading my notes, I remember that Sophia's 3 favorite places are the inn, bridge, and post office. I just want to check the inn again, because he said it'd be written on the exterior of the building. A clue. There's not much to write. Well, it should be like super, super tiny, and like you can't see it. Oh, literally, wow, I'm so dumb. So, Moon Cafe is playground. Oh, fuck me, it's right there. Bird, maybe possibly birdhouse. So is this to the box? This, you know what this might be? This might be what goes to the box on the ground. What I haven't said is that I need 6 locations total for the puzzle. 3 for Sophia and 3 for Father Brooks. We have 1 for each so far, and I'm already guessing this will lead me to the box in the woods by the birdhouse. Yep, house. I was hoping it'd be like just like out in the front, like really easy. It's stream. Okay. So post office is stream. Was there a word written here the entire fucking time? And I just like never noticed it? Oh, 1203. Oh, Stump. Okay, yeah, so I'm right. So it is that box. Oh, she's gonna haunt me. I know she is. When I open this box, she's gonna be standing behind me. I'm gonna scream so loud. So it's 12:03. Hey, oh. A ring. Dear Sophia, please wait for my return. Love, Matthew. A beautiful dream come true. Happy birthday. Was he in love with her? We find a note to Sophia with the desk code being the day Sophia first came to Paints Creek. We see from this letter that Father Brooks has never given up hope on Sophia. We also see that he has a secret room in the church where he does his woodworking, which we knew from the beginning of the game when Scott tells us about it. The letter is signed with a love always, Matthew, showing Father Brooks' true affection for Sophia. He truly loved her, and by the ring in the box, we could assume that he had planned to marry her one day. Oh, please, don't be behind me. With new information in hand, I head off to the church for the desk. Zero 0318, so 0318. Nice. Diary. Nice. Diary of Matthew Brooks. I visited Scott today. I couldn't believe what he said. How could Sophia be dead? How could Andrew, Henry, and Vivian have killed her? Did Dorothy know? How about Wanda or Charles? Did they know? Why didn't anyone tell me? I visited Sophia's grave today. It was just a wooden cross that Scott made. There was no name on it. I placed some flowers in front of it. She's always had a liking for flowers. We had mass today. Vivian and Henry were there. Andrew, as usual, didn't come. All I can think of whenever I look at them is whether they actually killed Sophia or not. As they praised the Lord throughout the sermon, I felt sick to the stomach. I couldn't bear to see their faces. What should I do now? I know I should forgive them, but it's so difficult. I'm dying inside. I wish I never visited Scott. I wish I never heard what he said. I wish I could just forget everything. I need to talk to Andrew. I need him to confess. Oh, damn, bro. We see that Father Brooks learned the truth about his love Sophia and those responsible for her demise. So the day that Father Matthew wrote that, right? The day we get that, June 6, 1995, I need to confess and talk to Andrew. I need him to confess. That's the same day that we know that Andrew Reed was found dead in his house as well. The autopsy for Andrew was on June 9th, so we know June 6th he was found dead in his house. See, I feel like this is the door that goes to the outside of the building, though, when you're walking up to the front of the church. That looks like that should be that, because it's like 3 windows and then a door. So how do I get into the attic? Is there like a secret room or something, or some way to get up there? And then nothing in here. But there's definitely a room above us, because you can see it from there. And there's the door. How do I get in there? With no other clue to go off of, and me still not remembering that I have a key card for the hospital, I head to the sheriff's office hoping to find something I can use to further my investigation. With no other leads, I try to brute force the cabinet. Eventually finding the right numbers. We discover a report to the sheriff, detailing the damage to Vivian's head likely came from an axe, much like we suspected, and that the following was discovered. 1. The victim was facing the killer. 2. The killer is physically strong. And 3. The killer is left-handed. In the second drawer, we found 3 recordings of 6 alibis. Charles was on a business trip from July 18th to the 20th. Father Brooks was at an annual religious gathering event from July 18th to the 23rd. Bernard had left the estate at 9 p.m. with Dorothy seeing him leave alone. Dorothy confirmed that Bernard left the estate at 9 p.m., that Mary had left at midnight, and that Dorothy herself left the estate last. Mary was busy the entire night but left at midnight and was witnessed leaving by Dorothy. And lastly, Derek was visiting a friend that night away from the estate. In the bottom drawer, we find a car key. Further inspection showed the key belongs to a Maverick model car. In this moment, I remember where I had seen one very important Maverick model car before. Bro, no fucking way. In a glove box, we find a set of keys to locker box 201 and a set of notes from Steve Moss. My head hurts, my tire's flat, and the phone's not working. Is someone trying to stop me from leaving Paints Creek? Am I close to discovering something? Oh God, I thought he was the one. I was wrong. He's not the killer. He's not. Oh God, I thought he was the one. I was wrong. He's not the killer. He's not. Do you think, oh God, maybe I'm reading too into this. Do you think, oh God, maybe referred to Father Brooks? Do you think that maybe Father Brooks was the one who did it? He's not the killer. He's not. So this also tells us that it's not one of the males, because he knew it wasn't Scott. He was against Scott. And then there's another he who it's not. So it's not who the other he, which was the only ones I could think of were Derek and Bernard. I quickly head inside to see what's inside of locker box 201. Inside is a note reading, "He's on to me. I had to hide the key in one of the drains by the roadside. He will never find." A photo of a wall lamp with the words, "What's the button for?" written on the back, and one final diary from Steve Moss. Ever since I received the messages and the key, I have been following this anonymous person blindly. What a fool I have been. I need to revisit my investigation notes and see if I might have missed anything important. I looked through the alibi records by Sheriff Howard. There were 6 interviews: Charles, Matthew, Bernard, Dorothy, Mary, and Derek. Then I noticed it. One of them is lying. It was recorded that there was an event, yet I remember reading somewhere about it being canceled. Where did I read it again? I can't seem to remember. Oh my God, I've just realized that the E in all of the killer's messages is slightly off in comparison to all the other letters. If I find that typewriter, I can find who killed Vivian. We already knew the typewriter idea from the start, but the important part here is that the killer was most likely the anonymous person. They were leading Steve down the wrong path to avoid detection while giving him clues to find someone else like Bernard as the killer instead. Once Steve caught on to this, it seems like the killer took care of him. We also see that one of the 6 was lying. During this time, 3 events were taking place: Charles's business trip, Father Brooks' religious gathering, and Vivian's fundraiser. One of these events was canceled, leading to one of these 4 men being the killer. Are you here in the room with me? After reviewing the photo, I figured that the lamp was probably at the church. Oh, no. Fuck me. Secret buttons. Oh, it's a bookshelf. I thought it was a fucking door. Oh, what do you mean it's a key? Oh man, that makes so much sense now. Oh God, he's on to me. It was in one of the drains near the road. Oh, I'm gonna go back to the hospital, see if I can find something at the hospital. Because I never found Doc's office before I just ran out like a bitch. Back at the hospital, I find some interesting clues in Doc Johnson's office. The first is a note to Charles Roberts from Doc Johnson about a threat letter Doc receives, thinking it's from Charles, stating he did not kill Sophia, he was simply there when she died. We also see the same threatening letter to Doc Johnson that Vivian received, with the same misplaced weird ease. And lastly, we find a room 203 key. Inside of room 203, we find a newspaper article stating that on November 17th, 1995, Scott Brooks was found dead near the intersection of Maple Drive, close to Bernard's house. He had been stabbed multiple times in the heart and his body left in a bush. We also find another room key and a diary from Dorothy Patterson. We don't find anything particularly important here. It's mostly about Charles knowing of Vivian's affair, Trisha hearing about it while she was in the hospital from a mental break, and that Derek was still jealous of Scott, asking Trisha, would it be better if Scott never showed up? Would you have chosen me? So we have a key, a bedroom key found next to Dorothy's diary on the hospital room 203. I wonder if that's to her house. Oh shit, someone did fall here. Huh, I wonder who fell and died there. With a new key, I head to Dorothy's house. Inside, I'm finally able to unlock the upstairs door. We find a news article about Trisha's tragic death at the hospital. Early on the morning of December 27th, 1995, Trisha Roberts made her way to the roof of the hospital where she fell 3 floors to her death. She had been staying there for a mental break over Scott's arrest for her mother's death. She also learned that her mother was having an affair with another man. Trisha's been going crazy ever since Scott died. She sometimes screams in the middle of the night. Here and there, she'll ask us why Scott hasn't visited her for a while. No one seems to know how to answer without agitating her condition. Trisha's finally being admitted to the hospital for another mental breakdown. Charles doesn't know what to do. I've asked for permission to take care of Trisha, but the hospital until she recovers. I think Charles appreciates my help. Afterwards, we find a key to Oliver's house. This is where the final tools are located at, and a lockbox with Sophia's name on it. Struggling to think of a code, I remember the locket from the well. No, this is the only thing I haven't used this entire time. Oh, thank God, finally. And for the first time, we get to hear Sophia's thoughts and words. August 30th, 1974. I know some people don't like me. Wanda always picks on me and Bernard ignores me most of the time. Andrew, well, he's okay as long as I'm not in his garden. Dorothy cares a lot for me though. I like her. Tom, our security guard, treats me with respect even though I'm just a housemaid. Vivian and Charles are kind to me. Oh, and Matthew too. I almost forgot about him. He's being taken care of me forever. Certainly, as long as I can remember, I'm a lucky girl. Oh, Matthew talks to me whenever he has time sometimes. I feel he's trying to escape his chores with the church. We'll talk about everything under the sun, our hopes, dreams, and our futures. It reminds me of the days at the orphanage. Landing a job here as a maid was the best thing that could ever happen to me. However, I never imagined I would be having an affair with a married man, let alone my employer. Now I'm carrying his child. How do I face Matthew? I received a letter from Matthew today saying that he'll be extending his stay in Indonesia for 6 more months. That's always been him. He's always been a noble at heart, wanting to help people everywhere. I miss him, but I'm glad he decided to extend his stay there. It gives me time to prepare how I'll explain my situation to him. I don't know how he'll take it if he just hears the truth blurted once he gets back. My baby was born today at 8:20 a.m. and it's a boy. He looks just like Charles. Dorothy's taking good care of us. She prepares the food and attends to my needs. I almost feel like I'm her boss. Charles visits me all the time, asking if we need anything else. I told him he didn't have to come so often and to instead focus on work. As a mayor, he must have a lot on his mind. Final entry. On June 16th, 1975, Charles told me today that his mother, Magdalene, will be arriving in 2 weeks. She knows about our relationship. I feel nervous because she's a strict woman. At the same time, I'm happy because she told Charles to take responsibility for me and my son. Soon, I won't have to be maid anymore. Charles has decided to name our child Vincent Roberts. I like that name. Finished at Sophia and Dorothy's house, I head to Oliver's to grab the last tools that I need. Once inside Oliver's house, I begin my search for the tools. I'm guessing a shovel and a toolbox? I mean, would it legitimately be that obvious, like a shovel and a toolbox? Genuinely a shovel and a toolbox. Oh, hell yeah. Oh! Yes! All tools found, fuck yeah. Damn. I've been playing this game this entire time with like one tool. Just a hammer and a Slim Jim. This paper is easily the most important document we've touched this entire story so far. In this statement, we see that Father Brooks wasn't feeling well and in fact did not attend the religious gathering on July 18th. This coincides with Steve Moss's comments that an event had been canceled and one of the alibis was a lie. Here we see Father Brooks' alibi and can clearly see that he stated he did in fact attend this gathering from the 18th to the 23rd, proving that Father Brooks lied about his whereabouts during Vivian's murder, and he has no standing alibi to cover him. Oh shit. Okay, I think that's everything in here. I can't go through that door. I can't go through that door. They can't be unlocked. I have no more key. Oh, no. Damn. Okay, well, now it's everything. Finished at Oliver's, I head out looking for the key to the church's secret room. I have the wrench, so I can attempt the sewer grates, because I remember the private eye said he dumped a key because he was being chased by whoever was trying to kill him. This key was so well hidden, there is no way I would have ever found this on my first try. I kid you not, this took me hours to find. Oh, fuck, it's right there. Oh, is that it? Bro. All keys found. Fuck yeah, bro. I found every goddamn key in the game. Alright, let's go find out what's in this secret room. Right, let's see if we can finish this out. We've now got everything we need. Oh. Oh shit. Oh no. And it's the typewriter. Oh shit, I fucking knew it. Someone came to Pain Street. She cannot know. So he's here. So where's he at? Dearest Matthew, I'm writing this letter to let you know what happened to Sophia. My days are almost up and I feel you have to write to know what happened 9 years ago. In 1974, when Vivian Roberts underwent a C-section to deliver Trisha, she was told that she could never give birth anymore. Vivian broke down mentally and was hospitalized. Sophia was tasked with taking care of a newly born Trisha and helping Charles, who was facing a lot of difficulty and pressure. Unfortunately found comfort in Sophia. They had an affair, a boy was born. A few months later, Vivian found out about the relationship. She was furious. Feeling threatened by the illegitimate boy, Vivian kicked Sophia and the baby out of Payne's Creek. Everyone believed that. But the truth is, I took the boy and put him in St. Patrick's Orphanage. I named him Scott. Time flies. He's going to be 10 soon. I pray that you can bear the responsibility of raising him. He does not need to know about his real parents. It's all in the past. Instead, give him a new start. I sincerely hope that you can forgive me for hiding this from you for so long. Calvin Bennett. And the important one. Something is taped here.
June 6th, 1995. I met Andrew in the evening at his house. He was hallucinating when we met, saying that he's seen Sophia everywhere, that he's a sinner, and that he should die. But I didn't mean to kill him. My hands are still shaking. June 30th, 1995. Dr. Johnson came. He was surprised to see me. He tried to justify, saying it wasn't his fault, that he was only carrying the baby and had nothing to do with Sophia's death. When I revealed the truth about Magdalene, his face turned white. He didn't expect anyone to know the truth. He deserved to die. July 19, 1995. Just like the doctor, Vivian came alone. Instead of feeling guilty, she called Sophia a bitch who destroyed everything she had. I didn't feel any sign of remorse, feeling of guilt, or repentance from her at all. So I gave her time to express herself, and then I killed her. It's all over now. Why am I not at peace? There's this nosy investigator in town. I thought that if I led him to believe that Bernard killed Vivian, he just might believe it. But I made the mistake of trying to mislead him. Now he's suspecting me of being the killer. He has to die.
What? What? Yo, get fucked. Yep. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Oh, fuck me. I don't remember the path. I don't remember the path. That's not fair. Yes, ma'am, I see you. Oh, sweet, thank you. Oh, come on. You suck ass. You don't even run through this entire fucking whole goddamn fucking town. Yeah, I hear you. Which way? Left or right? Fuck. That's not fair. The question is, can I juke him? So she was the next floor down. Fuck me, bro. He's gonna kill me. I don't know where to go. Where? Okay. I saw you. Do I push him off? To Janet, I'm glad that you made it back safely and uncovered the truth about the Payne Street killings. Good job. Your story will be on the front page of tomorrow's newspaper. Please submit the following information, as well as a photo for your article as soon as possible. Richard Harris, Editor-in-Chief. Press any key to continue. P.S. By the way, we found out who hired P.I. Stephen Moss. Who killed Vivian Roberts? Well, we already know it was Matthew Brooks. What was the murder weapon? He used an axe. Select a photo for your newspaper article. Oh, dude, what would be a good photo? What was like a really good photo that I took? The murder weapon. Does it matter what I pick? I like that one better. Newspaper article submission review. Killer's name, Matthew Brooks. Murder weapon, axe. Article photo, why was she killed?